Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Daniel O Livvarcin. I'm the CEO of a social enterprise named Vectors Group. We have been working with nonprofit organizations and charities. And we try to become one-stop solution center for nonprofits. So a couple of years ago, we noticed that AI can really be beneficial for nonprofit sector. So Yakuba Traore and I wrote a book named Understanding and Using AI for Nonprofit Professionals. But it's not a technical book. It's more like how to utilize AI in the nonprofit domain for the specific needs and characteristics of nonprofit sector. So today I will give some information about what AI is, very fun to understand the logic of AI, and then just address some of the technical improvements and how the near future will look like. So the AI era started, but it is just the beginning. So very soon we will see lots of incredible developments in the AI sector. So I want to talk a little bit about that as well, and then I'm planning to dive in different areas of management in the nonprofit sector and how AI can be utilized in different nonprofit management and governance practices. So I will be happy to share a copy of the slide deck afterwards, and please feel free to interrupt and ask any questions or make any comments if you have any questions. Several years ago, when somebody introduced me to AI, the first thing that I learned was, how does AI work, right? So how does this learning process work? So when you look at the numbers on the screen, you can easily tell which number is which, right? So we know that so they are different versions of the numbers, but we can still tell that this one is 6, this one is 6, and this one is 6. But when we go to this level, then it becomes very challenging, right? So is this 1 or 7 or 9? Or, I mean, this looks like 8, but we are not 100% sure. Is this 5 or S? So now it becomes confusing, right? But now imagine this is your friend's handwriting, and then he always writes 9 or 7 in this form. So once you see it a couple of times, then you will learn that this is a 7. But now imagine that there are millions of people. So on the internet, we have literally millions of versions of numbers, and AI keeps track of everything, right? So just like us, when we started, we don't know what this number is. I mean, here we can tell it's 7, and AI doesn't know either, but AI learns, and next time it sees, it understands that it's 7. So in very short period of time, AI learns all versions of the numbers. So when it sees something, it can easily tell it is a 7. Now we can generalize this logic to the whole AI development phase, right? So everything that is available on the internet, AI learned that already. And every time we make a correction, we send an email, we post something, we publish an article, we publish a book, AI continues to learn. Okay, so that's, if you are using ChatGPT or AI tools, you can see the improvement. Like 6 months ago when we were asking questions, the answers were not that good, but now it's getting better. And this will continue technically forever, but at some point it will come to the end of data, right? So if there's no new data, then AI cannot tell us anything. Can AI tell us what is at the far end of universe? It can't, because AI couldn't learn it because information doesn't exist. So AI learns from our experiences, but in a very high scale, and it continues to learn. But if there's no data, it cannot learn anything. So this makes it a little bit unique for the nonprofit sector too, right? So AI by default doesn't know anything about nonprofit sector other than the one that we already shared on internet. So AI read all the books, all the articles, all the comments, all the Instagram posts about nonprofits. So it compiles everything, and and it assumes that this information is correct, right? So this also leads to certain level of bias. If we have bias, if we have any kind of ethical issues in our knowledge, it will just reflect on AI as well. So the AI that we are using right now that was incredible was the generative AI. Again, I mean, this is not a technical workshop, but I want to give some technical background information. The generative AI is, we ask AI and it gives us some answers, right? So it's very knowledgeable. It generates some text for us, some visuals, some videos. But the next stage is agentic AI. I will explain briefly what they mean, because generative AI is incredible, but I'm still the one who writes the emails, right? So I'm still the one who does the work. I'm still the one who makes, I mean, it makes the calculation, but I'm still the one who prints it and put it in the folder, for example. So generative AI was the first step, and agentic AI is the next step, which is happening right now. So AI now actually can do some physical activities. AI can send emails on our behalf. AI can make posts on social media on our behalf. So for generative AI, it creates the content, but we still need to copy it and paste it on our social media account to post it. But now with agentic AI, AI can do some of these tasks. But there are already over 30,000 AI tools in the market, and it's impossible to navigate all of them. We need an AI tool to investigate all the AI tools, so it's very complicated. And I myself, I mean, tried as a and very soon I got tired, right? So because I don't have that much time and I don't want to spend that much money. So which tool is the best? It's really became very complicated. And they may all be very good tools, but even having multiple tools become a challenge, a burden for the workforce. So in the near future, and we started to see some of these multi-agent AI. So imagine AI that can send emails, that can manage your social media account, that can engage with your potential donors, that can keep track of your accounting, everything in one place. Okay, so this is the new trend. We have agentic AI tools. Now we are expecting to see some multi-agent AI tools, like Copilot is one of them. Is trying to integrate all the features. Like you will have one AI that can help you in many areas. It sounds like a future, but very soon we will also see some embodied AI, right? So, I mean, AI can send my email, but can AI cook for me, or can AI drive my car for me? Yes, now we have some early stages of physical AI with physics or with mechanical body, which is basically robotics. But it is not future anymore. So very soon we may see some robots or some sort of robots. It doesn't need to look like a human being, but someone at the reception who welcomes people and just do the initial registration, etc. So this is also a possibility, and maybe in the future but not far future, some of our body parts can be replaced by AI. Like I mean, people with hearing loss, I mean, it's just a physical issue, and we can have a machine that can help us to see better, hear better, or fix some of our problems. So there are like in the 30,000 plus AI tools. Many of them use the same AI engines. Like they are not independent AI tools, actually. Many of them use ChatGPT background, some of them use Claude, so they use this AI engine at the back end. And because of the limitations of information, the AI engines are not significantly different. Okay, so I mean, all of them have seen all versions of 7. Now, since there is no new version of 7, the AI tools will be pretty much at the same level, unless we find a way to create new information, which is less likely in the near future. So we will just, all of them are good. And so we don't need to worry about deciding which one is the best in terms of performance. We look at some other parameters, the cost or relevancy to your other software programs, etc. AI was incredible, right? So it simplified the processes and we can communicate with AI. But now communicating with AI became a profession, right? So everybody has access to ChatGPT. Like even before AI, everybody has access to laptop and software programs, but it doesn't mean that you have access to, so you can use it most efficiently. AI is the same way, okay? So in the first one, I want to compare two scenarios. I asked ChatGPT to draw my team as vectors group and it drew this. Then I gave further information. I said, this is my logo. This is me. I uploaded my picture. And as you can see, this is you. I mean, if you know the organization, you can tell the detail. Now you need to communicate with AI. So it requires expertise and it requires time. Like literally, if you tell ChatGPT to write a book for you, it can write a book for you, right? But let's give another example. If you ask ChatGPT to write a grant application for your nonprofit, it can write a grant application for you. But is it the best grant application? Definitely not. Okay, and AI can help you to develop to write the best grant application as well. But you need to engage with AI. You need to use the proper prompts. You need to guide AI. You need to educate AI. You need to lead AI. You need to correct AI if it is making some mistakes. So this part becomes the new skill set that everyone is looking. Now, but it's difficult to measure because we don't have the standards right now. Like, let's say in the past, remember, we were asking people, do you know Microsoft programs, Microsoft Excel and Word program? And they say yes or no, right? So, and they were able to get licenses or certificates. So it was easy to determine the level of knowledge. In AI usage, these standards are not set yet, but we can tell the difference between good AI users and not that so good AI users. Now, the big challenge is, I mean, generative AI was incredible, but did it reduce anybody's workload so far? Not mine, okay? And this is kind of interesting because, I mean, now I have AI. In the past, I was spending weeks to write something. Now I can write the same thing in an hour maximum. But am I free in the remaining time? No. So what is the gap then, right? So what causes this issue? So this solution is that in the previous one, in the current model, AI tells me this is your social media post, copy and paste it on your LinkedIn account. This is your email, copy and paste it and send it. So now I want AI to do it for me too. Okay, so this is the agentic AI that I just explained. I'm not going to go into details, but it's like educating a child. Okay, so you have a very smart AI machine, and you can educate AI who you are, what kind of tone you prefer to use in your communication, what emails you use, how to finish your emails, and then you educate it once, and then it learns and it starts sending emails on your behalf. And this section is the new programming. It's not software programming, but we can call it as AI programming. And there are different AI agents. It's a little bit technical, but I will quickly pass through it. Some AI agents are simple reflex agents. Okay, so like vending machine, you go there and it detects you and it gives you the right product. So there is a physical activity, but not that significant. The second one, which is already in place, the modeling system. Like you say, I want to go to Toronto, and the system that, I mean, it uses AI, it gives you some advice which roads to select. And then there are also goal-based agents, like you can literally say those programs exist, and I want to go to Barcelona next summer with my family, plan a trip, and find me the cheapest flight, etc. And it will the agent will do all the research and come back with a vacation plan for you. So you set the goals, and it can be implemented in the nonprofit sectors too. Like you can tell an agent, I need to raise $500,000 for my charity, and this is my charity's website. Develop a plan for me, and then it will develop a plan for you. It can even send emails to messages, prepare social media posts. So this is what goal-based agents do. And almost all of the agents are learning agents. Like you must have this spam folder, right? So why do some of our emails go to spam, and why do some of them come to inbox? And sometimes the system makes mistakes. So it makes a mistake, and then it learns. Next time it doesn't, it starts not making any more mistakes. Like a secretary who learns how her supervisor works. So we have learning agents as well. The next layer is utility-based agent. One of the common applications is the smart cars. But as I said, we also have a smart receptionist, or we can have someone, or not someone, but something in food banks that distributes the food, or someone that keeps track of the inventory. So those are utility-based agents. And how does it work? I mean, it's just to give you an idea. So you have different AI tools, and this is the programming part. So you can educate AI. You can use the existing AI engines, and you can have your own specific customized agent. So it is a little bit costly for now, but in the very near future, it will be very common. So each organization can develop its own customized agentic AI. The following couple of slides are very important to understand in terms of the implementation of AI. Now, this is pretty much the current structure, okay? And this is also the case in my organization. So we have team members, and each of these team members use AI, but the internal communication is still established through person-to-person connection, right? So everyone uses it independently. So AI is not really part of the team. And now imagine a case, okay? So, and Copilot is one of the early applications of this mindset. Now you treat AI as a member of your team. You give it some tasks, it does coordination, you give it some orders, it gives you some suggestions, and it is part of your team. Your staff members still continue to use some of the AI tools that are coming out of this 30,000 plus AI tool pool. They can still continue to use that, but you also have a centralized AI that helps your organization to coordinate as if like a team member. And of course, now in the previous one, AI still communicates with people, right? So it is at the center, but it still communicates with the people. But now imagine a next level where AI communicates with the AI of the other organizations. Like instead of us as people applying to grants, imagine that our organization has an AI that communicates with the AI of the funder. They discuss, and the funder's AI decides whether we are eligible to get some funds or not. And if needed, our AI asks us some question. If needed, their AI asks some questions to the decision makers. So AI communicates with each other too, right? So those Those developments may sound too futuristic or too complicated, but they are actually in place. I mean, some organizations already started to use it. We don't need to be AI experts to utilize that, like smartphones, right? So is using a smartphone, does using a smartphone require any technical skills? Maybe if you want to use it with 100% efficiency, yes, maybe, but most of us use smartphones with no technical background, or our technical background is enough to use it. So same will be the case for AI. And maybe in the future, but not, again, not far future, but near future, we will have some embodied AI that can contribute to some of the operations of the nonprofit organizations. They can be utilized in food banks to distribute, like, imagine, there are more than 3,000 food banks in Canada, and they're not efficiently managed. None of them have any inventory management system. Nearly 50% of the food is wasted because of the lack of resources. So AI can replace this gap and fill this gap and help us in that areas as well. Now, for the decision makers in the nonprofit organizations, and this is really important to understand. So AI is a tool, but it can only help you if you make it part of your process. Now, imagine this is the process of a nonprofit organization. And then for some futures, I mean, this is a flow chart of operations for a nonprofit. But many of the nonprofit organizations that don't have flow charts. So everything is in our minds. So we know how our food banks, or we know how our service operations function, but they are not visualized. We don't have these flow charts, the steps, etc. So we don't really know where we can allocate AI, where we can benefit from the AI tools. So the first step is not to look for AI tools and see if they can help you or not. The first step is look at your organizational processes and see where you can use AI, and then look for the AI tools that can be used for that specific purpose. So this is a much safer and more efficient way. So in this example, assume that we have two tasks, two stages in our processes that can be replaced by AI. But the goal here is not to replace some of the tasks with AI. AI is good in assisting our processes, but AI can also be very strategic in renewing our processes. Like in this example, we have these two AI tools, so we don't need this process anymore. So we need to cancel so we can allocate more resources to this area. So, and I'm going to talk about whether this means some people will lose their jobs or not, but I mean, the good news is I'm very optimistic that we will have enough jobs in the future as well. But the nature of jobs will change. I mean, now, imagine this is a food bank process and we have someone who's responsible for the inventory control of the food bank. If we have an AI tool that does it for us, we don't really need that person. But we need someone else who can manage the AI tools in the organization. So the number of jobs, I don't think it will change significantly. But, and I will explain why I'm that optimistic. Yeah, can ChatGPT or AI be better in some areas? Yes, and there is no reason to resist that. So this is going to happen, or it's already happening without our control, right? So we have to embrace it, we have to adopt it, and we have to find a way to find new roles for ourselves. So Adam Smith, considered the father of modern economy, he wrote a book called Wealth of Nations, and he was trying to explain why some nations, specifically United Kingdom, is wealthier than the other nations. And he came up with this division of labor. So there and this is his famous pin factory example. Before the machines, there were 10 different people. They were manufacturing 200 pins independently, and then they decided to come together. They decided to share some tasks, and they were able to produce 4,800 pins when they share tasks and work collectively. And this became so popular all around the world. So many people lost their jobs because of this new mindset, but new jobs appeared, and it never became a problem. So after Adam Smith, it even get worse, right? So then we have machines. The whole manufacturing capacity was managed by robots, etc. These are existing technologies for last maybe 60, 80 years. And now 10 people can literally manage the whole factory. So literally now we can produce millions of pins instead of 200 pins. But when you look at the overall picture, number of jobs didn't significantly change. We still have less than 5% unemployment rate. And the introduction of machines didn't change the number of jobs. The introduction of internet was a big shift. It didn't change the number of, it just shifted the skill sets, but the number of jobs stayed the same. People who quickly adopted to internet found new jobs, and they were okay. But those who resisted change may have experienced some difficulties. Now we are experiencing a similar stage with AI. AI just challenging some of the tasks, and it's natural, but it also creates lots of new skill gaps. And if at all level, at entry level or at decision-making level, this is an opportunity. And this is inevitable. In less than 10 years, AI will be everywhere, not just on our tablets or laptops or smartphones, but also in our physical life. AI will be everywhere. And the speed of technology development is incredible, much faster than what we have seen in the past. So how can we use AI in the nonprofit domain? So in our book, we identified 7 fields of AI, and I'm quickly go through them. I'm not planning to take too much of your time with the details, but since I think it can be a very useful resource for you in the future as well. So those are 7 areas of management functions in nonprofit organizations. So how can we use AI in governance, for example? The simplest stage was writing the mission statement and the vision statement. I have been working with hundreds of nonprofits for the last 10 years, and I remember like 6, 7 years ago, we had long discussions about the mission statement. We were spending hours and hours to identify the right terms, right sentences. Now we still discuss, and we give this information to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT quickly populates us some alternatives. And we say, we have the flexibility to say, make it more broad, make it more specific, make it Ottawa specific, make it indigenous organization specific. Like we can just give easy orders to ChatGPT or other AI tools, and it can quickly develop this for us. But it's not just a mission statement. Like AI usage policy, for example. If you're not the first one in the world who is writing an AI usage policy, it means that AI already knows that, right? So how many organizations wrote policies so far? Probably thousands, right? So thousands of organizations already wrote AI policies. And when you tell ChatGPT to write an AI usage policy for your organization, it will not take them 10 seconds, right? So it will give you something. And again, remember the picture that I used. I mean, if you tell, it will not give you the perfect solution at the beginning, but you can guide it. Like you can say, yeah, please be aware that we are in a rural area. Please, we have multiple branches. Please emphasize, of course, you don't need to say please, but I get used to that. Even when I address ChatGPT, sometimes I say he or she instead of it, but it's a machine actually. We don't need to say please. And very interestingly, when you say please, it gets confused because the logic is based on direct order. So when you say please, the results are not as good as direct orders. But now the point is, we can ask AI to quickly develop policies, right? So I remember just before the AI era, the organization, the charity that I was chairing was spent more than $10,000 for policy developments. So now you can do it with your team. It still needs expertise, right? So somebody needs to go through the policies, needs to give the right guidance, and needs to give some specific information for your organization. But not just policies. We can use AI for risk management. We can say, determine the KPIs for Rideau Ratcliffe Community Resource Center, for example, right? So what is expected from a community resource center in Ottawa? And we can say, these are my board members. Do a quick analysis and tell me what kind of skills should I expect to have in my next board member, or what is the gap missing in my board right now? And AI will do multidimensional analysis, right? So it may say it's not diverse enough. It may say like it is not diverse enough in terms of ethnocultural background. It is not diverse enough in terms of professional skill set. And you know what? You can also ask AI to find someone on social media that is a good fit for your organization, right? So it can quickly scan social media and say, these are the right people. You can aim to get in touch. It can give you financial oversight. You can say, these are my financial statements. Upload tens of documents at once, and it will quickly process it and give you some advice. Not perfect advice. We still need human factor. Okay, so I'm not suggesting fully rely on AI. Please be aware that AI is a decision support system, not a decision system. So the decision will still be made by human. I mean, this is my personal thought, but I see it as a risk. I mean, usually I use AI very often, but I always prefer to be the last one who makes the decision because it's a responsibility, and AI is just a machine, a very accurate machine, but sometimes it can miss some human angle. And I think we should keep that for ourselves. And so those are some of the examples. You will have the slide deck. I briefly mentioned that. Oh, okay, yeah. Another one, stakeholder engagement. So you might be surprised to learn that there are over 8,000 private foundations in Canada that support nonprofits and charities. And they distribute over $8 billion per year. But they're not publicly visible. They are on the internet, but if you don't, I mean, in best scenario, you may know the names of 5, 10 of the foundations. But where are the others, right? So AI can help you to find those organizations, find the ones that are aligned with your mission statement, and just find the contacts for you and even give you some advice how to engage with those organizations. The second function is strategic planning. So can we use AI for strategic planning? The answer is yes, but it's a hybrid model. Okay, so do you want AI to tell you where to go for vacation next summer? Not really, right? So I still want to be part of the decision. So, but same as for strategic planning. We don't want AI to set strategies for nonprofit organizations, but I can give it some guidance. I can give some information. I can get board members' opinion and feed it in the AI. So AI can combine them and compile them and give me some strategic planning advice. So this is a framework that we developed for nonprofits as Vectors Group nearly 10 years ago. And then we use numbers, we use quantitative surveys and qualitative interviews, and we collect information from 40, 50 people, staff members and the board members for a small-sized nonprofit organization. And then we feed this information to AI and say, find some commonalities. I mean, or find some niches. Is there an alignment? So we do the analysis with support of AI, but it's a hybrid model, and we work together with the AI. And especially in strategic planning, we also need to predict what's going to future look like, right? So now the whole nonprofit domain is changing in Canada. Now there is a big shift because of the political and economic atmosphere that Canada is facing. And this will affect the nonprofits as well. Many of the funds, many of the government grants are cut. Now there is more emphasis on socioeconomic development, and it's really difficult to predict what 3 years is going to look like, right? So it's difficult for us, but it's not that difficult for AI because many researchers already started to publish many articles on the internet, and AI can process that. AI knows what happened 10 years ago, what happened 50 years ago, what happened in UK 25 years ago. So it has a chance to see all that information. So AI can also be used to predict what's going to happen in the future. It's a prediction, right? So nobody can know what's going to happen in the future, but based on what happened in the past, we can make some forecast, and AI can do that for us. And one of the biggest challenges in the nonprofit sector is resource optimization, right? So most of the nonprofit organizations, medium-sized nonprofit organizations, they are funded through 5 to 20 different funding streams. It's very complicated to manage everything. But AI can just help us with this complexity. But AI cannot tell which part is more important, right? So we can give some advice and say, we can guide AI to give us the right decisions. Can AI help us to set goals? Did you know that there are nearly 18,000 nonprofit organizations in Ottawa? Only in Ottawa, we have more than 120 food banks in Ottawa. I met some people who are planning to start their new nonprofit organizations, and first thing that they are good people, so they say, I'm planning to distribute food to vulnerable people or marginalized communities. But are you aware that there are already 120 food banks in Ottawa? Is that really the gap? So there is no way for anyone, even for us who has been working with nonprofits for so many years, it's a challenge. We cannot see the full picture, but AI can help us. So you can ask AI just, how are food banks distributed in Ottawa? And is there a geographical gap where we need a food bank? And it can give you an advice. Otherwise, it's really difficult to get that and get answer for that simple question. How can we use AI in human resources management? We all know that all of our resumes are processed through, especially for bigger organizations, are processed through AI, right? So AI quickly scanned, and now there's even a term, resume engineering, right? So you design your resume, so AI will recognize you as a good candidate for a specific role. It's quite artificial, but it is used, and there is no other way, because typically for a job, we have over 200 applications, sometimes more, and it's getting worse and worse because of the accessibility of the information. Like now, the job announcements are online, everyone can see it, and in average, we receive hundreds of applications. So AI can help us to filter them, but the efficiency of this filtering will depend on our performance, how we set. Like we need to be specific. We shall use AI as a decision support system, but not as a decision system. And so when we use AI for human resources, we need to keep tasks in our mind, we need to keep skills needed in our mind, and we need to focus on the talent. But this is where we need to customize our AI usage, right? So we need to be very specific. If AI, I think the worst part of AI is it never says I don't know, right? So it always gives us an answer. Even in the areas it doesn't have any idea, it gives you some answer. But we have to be sure that it is the right answer and it is customized for our organization. This is the key. If we get used to this easy usage of AI, it means low quality of outcomes. So if we want to get better quality, better outcomes from AI, we need to spend time. We need to invest our time, and we need to lead AI. We shall not leave AI to lead us. The program development, like AI could help reduce military suicide, nonprofits ops. So very interesting area, right? So, and one of the biggest challenges in the nonprofit sector is all of the grants, they expect you to come up with innovative idea. But imagine an organization that has been working for 50 years and it has served thousands of people. How can you come up with a new idea, right? So typically a medium-sized organization applies to 25 grants per year. And so every year you need to come up with 25 new innovative ideas. It's very unlikely, okay? So it's very difficult. But AI can help us. But the challenge here is we're not the only ones that are using AI, right? So I had a chance to talk with some funders, and they complained that all of the applications they received were alike because they all use ChatGPT. They ask simple questions, give me a project idea, and then it gives you an idea. So they all look alike, not professional, not perfect, not high quality applications. Because you can literally write a grant application in half an hour by using AI. We spent 2 weeks to write a grant application. We use AI very efficiently, but we spent 2 weeks to write an application, to make it unique, to make it high quality. So AI is a tool, just like kitchen, okay? So, I mean, when I go to kitchen versus when my wife goes to kitchen, I cook occasionally, but it is not comparable to what my wife cooks, right? So she spends more time, she has more knowledge, she knows how to use tools very efficiently. Same is the case for AI. So everybody uses AI, but it doesn't mean that everyone gets the same quality of outcome. And this is AI skills, right? So, I mean, it's a very wise decision for nonprofit organizations to invest in AI training of their staff members. In my organization, we have a process defined how to use AI for grant applications. The first question, the second, what needs to be done, upload this information, check this with clients. So we have a process defined how to use grant applications, how to use AI for grant applications. And we update it. Every time we learn something, we say, okay, let's use this next time. So we use AI too, but we use AI, especially for grant applications, much more efficiently than anybody else because it's one of our core services, and we understand that we cannot just rely on AI. AI is a tool, but we also need to do our part to get the best results. AI is perfect in statistical analysis. So, and like, do you know how many seniors go to attend to social activities what is the percentage of seniors attending to community events in Ottawa, right? So we don't have that information, but AI may have it. So we can ask that question to AI, and AI can find that information. If anybody in the world has done this study, it can give us some information. And I'm sure many organizations have done this, so we can use that information. Well, one of the biggest areas that AI can be utilized is fundraising. And I will show you the picture of the money. Okay, so this is where the money is. And it's the global, like look at this, $1 trillion per year. Okay, so this is the big pool of funding in the nonprofit sector. And your organization is possibly looking for a couple of $100,000 grant, right? So it is nothing compared to this big pool. But how are you going to navigate this system? So where is the money? How are you going to reach out? It's impossible for someone to navigate this system manually, or even with computers, etc. Right? But AI can help us, and it does help us. Like we do some fundraising. We ask AI to help us to develop the communication strategies, identify the corporations that we should engage, customize the messages for each potential donor, identify the big major donors. Did you know that we have over 1,000 or 1,000 people who have 10 million or more in their bank accounts in Ottawa? We know that number because of AI, but of course we don't know who they are, but maybe in the near future, AI can also help us to find those people. Of course, there are some ethical limitations or privacy limitations. I understand this, but if something is on the internet, AI has access to that. Like you can question for yourself. You can put your name and say, make a guess, what will be my wealth? And it gives you very accurate numbers. That's incredible and also scary. It means that my privacy is very limited. If you are on social media, if you are on internet for some reasons, AI can compile everything and make some conclusions out of it. So just to give you an idea how we utilize AI as a hybrid model. So this is our seven-stage grant application process, and we use AI in all stages. Grant research, yes, we use AI. Needs analysis and matching, we upload 40-page guidance document of the grantor, and then we say, match it with this organization, and it gives us very valuable information. We use it for idea generation, but we don't use it all at once, right? So it's like, this is also the key. AI, do not rush and put the necessary effort in getting the better results from AI. So you define your processes, and then you use AI in all stages of that process. And AI can also be used in donor management, analyze the individuals. So do we know what people donate? Actually, it already exists. Like I'm sure it happened to all of us. Let's say you are planning to buy a new bicycle for the spring, and hopefully, I thought the spring came, but today I remembered that it's still winter. But let's say in a month I'm planning to buy a bicycle. Okay, now we had that conversation, and I can guarantee you, in a couple of hours, some bicycle advertisements will pop up on my phone, on my laptop, right? So I didn't even write anything. I just talked, but it doesn't matter. The system captures it and it just processes it, and it says, oh, Daniel is planning to buy a bicycle. Let's give him some advertisement. Now imagine that we can use this skill, use this capacity for donor management. Like, nearly 80% of Canadians make donations. That's an incredible number, right? So, and they volunteer. But what causes do they volunteer? What is the right message? Everybody asks for money, and it is not the best way to ask for money, right? So we need to use stories. We need to find the matching cause, right? So, but how will we know? How will we know what someone will prioritize? We don't need to know, but AI knows that. And very soon, this information is already used by big mega companies, but very soon it will also be available for, or at certain level, it's also available to nonprofit organizations. So financial management, it's very soon. I mean, those are the stages of financial management, and we already have lots of tools that can assist the bookkeeping, managerial accounting, financial accounting. If this is something that you're interested, like again, the key here is draw the flow chart of your organization and then decide where you can use different AI tools. And can it increase your customer relations? And many of the nonprofit organizations are direct service providers, so the customer satisfaction is important, and everybody tries to measure the impact, and AI can measure that as well. Currently, I'm working with Pinecrest Community Resource Center to develop some performance management system for their program, and we are planning to benefit from AI, right? Because like, how can you measure the impact of a social service? It is very difficult because there are so many factors, so many parameters, and some of them are numerical, quantitative, some others are qualitative. It's a big challenge. But there are researchers who can deal with that complexity. So if researchers can deal with it, it means that, hey, they publish something and AI already learned from them, so AI can also do it for us. And so this recycling isn't the answer. I mean, this whole picture, the message, everything was AI generated, but it's a very powerful message, right? So we can really use AI for communication strategies, for marketing. I mean, it's always good to have some your ideas too, but AI is also very efficient. Just to give you an idea, I mean, you might have seen me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I have 42,000 followers on LinkedIn, and I make regular posts. And I usually try to come up with the idea, and I tell ChatGPT to draw a cartoon for me and to write a post for me, but I give the guidelines, and sometimes I ask ChatGPT what its opinion is, and sometimes it gives me better opinions. So it's really incredible. I mean, as a decision support tool, it's an incredible tool, and it can give you the full solution, not just the idea. It can draw it, and with agentic AI, it can also post it on your social media. And if somebody sends you a message, you might have seen already, like in chat boxes, you ask a question and the AI answers, right? So you literally communicate with AI and it supports you. It's an agentic AI, and they are now affordable. Like a community resource center may have 20 different services, and imagine someone goes to their website and says, how can I use the food bank? What are the requirements to become eligible? Or which dates are the food bank is open? Yeah, it might be already on the website, but sometimes the websites are difficult to navigate. So you can talk with the chat box, and chat box can give you all the answers you need. And chat box is an AI, and we can easily integrate it to any nonprofit organization's website. But AI also has a dark side. As a nonprofit, we have to be aware of this dark side. It is biased. Okay, so if we are talking about discrimination and racism at different levels globally, and the worst part is we also have unconscious discrimination. Okay, so I haven't seen anyone who says, I'm a racist. But when you look at their practices, like I experienced that too. Like I have two boys, and I'm originally from Turkey, and I had a conversation with my wife, and I said, what if they choose someone who's not Turkish? Are we prepared for that? And the answer was yes. If they are from different religions, are we okay with that? Yes, we are okay with that. But you know, unconscious discrimination is part of our life. Like if you ask ChatGPT to draw a businessman, probably it will draw you a white man. Okay, but this is a this is our discrimination. We educated AI that the perception of businessman is white man. So this is what we taught AI. So while we are trying to fix it in our lives, in our part, we also need to fix it in the AI part. And luckily, there are institutions, researchers, and practitioners who are working and how to spot AI discrimination and to prevent it. So AI can also, I mean, the usage of AI in ethical limits, it depends totally on the organizations, right? I can ask AI, like, what is my neighbor's wealth like, right? So I can ask that question to my to AI, and it can give me a very accurate number. But is it ethical? I think we can set our ethical boundaries as individuals. We can set our limitations as organizations. We can set some rules. Of course, there will be some people who will not follow that rules, but it's still an organizational responsibility to have AI policies. It's a great tool, but it can also be used for bad purposes, let's say. So this is the last slide, and this is also the motto that we used in our book. Don't be afraid, be prepared. So this is our motto. It's inevitable. AI is really incredible, but also sometimes very scary, and sometimes it's very complicated. I was joking, I mean, Carlington Community Health Center invited me to make a presentation to their team. And I said, when you invited me, I was an expert in AI, but now I know nothing about AI because it changes every day. So but there's no other way. And it's much easier to access to information. And we don't need to be experts in AI, but we can still efficiently benefit from the opportunities that AI brings to the table. So this was basically my presentation. Thank you for listening so patiently. I hope it was a long presentation and some parts were technical. My intention was not to bore you, but to give you a general outline of where AI is and where AI is going and how can we implement it in the nonprofit sector. So if you have any questions or comments, I will be happy to give the floor to you.
I have a question.
Sure.
First of all, thank you very much. Really good overview and very helpful. I'm wondering, is there any guidance on using prompts with the AI tools? Like, do you just naturally get better at it as you're using it, or are there some sort of sort of basic rules around how to prompt it to get what you want?
Yeah, actually, it's a mixture of both, right? There are some rules that are, but they are based on the experience of other people. So sometimes, I mean, but it's not like sometimes you see on social media it says 10 best prompts on ChatGPT. So there is no 10 best prompts on ChatGPT, but there are some rules, and there may be some books on prompts. And ChatGPT can also help us, like, what is the best way what are the best strategies for prompt usage, for example. So there are some rules of thumbs, like do not start with please, be more specific, do not ask multiple things at the same time, just have a process in your mind. So those are some rules of thumbs to get better outcomes. In terms of language, it doesn't matter. It's not like a software language, so you can ask questions in different formats or in any language. It's not really the case, but the content of the question or the prompt is really important. And then, so this is the standardized part or proven experience part, but then you build based on your own experience too. So you start getting wrong answers and then you know how to correct it and you try and then you develop your own language or you customize the existing language. But if you need to have that in mind, and it should be part of your organizational learning. Like if somebody learns how to get better project ideas, we share it internally and we say, this is the prompt that works best. And then everybody learns, then we start using it.
I know I've also heard from others that you touched on this for grant writing, that particularly funders are recognizing that a lot of organizations or people are using AI
Yes.
tools to draft grants. But given your workflow and your flowchart, this isn't dissuading you from using AI tools to draft grants, knowing
Um,
that, like, I'm curious in the work that you've done from the funder perspective, is that impacting how or what they're funding when they know that they're getting, 10 grants that all look the same?
yeah,
And
this is a very good point. And so if you ask only one question and say, this is the grant, suggest me a project idea. Okay. And then suggest me a project name and or write me a grant, let's say. Everyone will have the same name, like youth empowerment project, youth empowerment project, youth empowerment project, and the
uh,
content will be pretty much the same. But what we do is we analyze the organization and we say, oh, this organization works with marginalized youth. This organization works with, I don't know, IT sector. Then we say, okay, propose something that focuses on marginalized youth and IT sector. And then we also say, suggest a name that's an acronym and that's a meaningful word. So our project name is, let's say, Bridge, and assume that I mean, I cannot make it up, but assume that the long version of the name is Building Bridges Between Marginalized Youth and IT Sector. Okay, so this is also AI developed, but it's different than the other 99 applications because we spent a lot of time, like we say, I didn't like this name, include this. Just for the name, we have a sequence of 10 interactions to find the right project name. And then we say, give me a project budget, for example. So and if you ask project budget, it will give you the project budget, very similar project budget for everyone. We don't do that. We say, limit our budget with 80,000 spent, allocate 25% for capacity building, and that we are more specific. So it is still AI developed, but it doesn't bother the reader that much. And it's more like the perception, the feeling that the reader pursues. Like, uh, and you can sometimes you can easily fix it. Like when I make social media posts, I use AI, but at the end I say humanize it, don't use dashes, and I say include a story, just talk about my experience 3 years ago with Reader Rockcliffe, and then it gives me a new post. It is still AI developed, but very humanized, and the reader is not that much disturbed or has a better feeling when they read it. Now we can tell with if something is written in AI or not, but with these sort of tactics, we can still use AI, but make it sound like more human.
okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Now I disclosed our secret as a company,
You did, thank you.
but we are a social enterprise, so it's we are happy to do that. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your time. We finished a little bit early, but if in the future, if you have any questions, my email address is in the presentation, livvarcin@vectorsgroup.com. Vectors Group is a social enterprise, so we are happy to help nonprofit organizations, even if there is no contract in place. And we will be happy to answer your questions. We strongly believe that AI can be a game changer for nonprofit organizations. I'm also a founder and chair of a nonprofit organization called Center for Excellence in Nonprofit AI, CENA. It's based in Ottawa, and we try to bring AI developers and nonprofit sector and academia around the same table to build a shared capacity, shared AI capacity for nonprofit organizations. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Heather. Back to you, Sam.
Thank you, Daniel. That was a great presentation. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. I'll be sending out a copy of the slide deck and contact information for Vector's Group in a follow-up email tomorrow. And we should have the YouTube video posted on our website within typically 1 to 2 weeks.
Thank you.